Alvin, good to
Yeah,
see you.
Scotty, how are you?
I'm wonderful. It's good to be back.
Good, it is.
Uh, I just was curious. That's my line. What's the situation with with the minutes that Zion's playing? Is this dictated to you when he plays by the medical staff? Are you given an allotment of bursts or whatever, and then you decide? How is it kind of coming out of when you decide to play him and when you decide to sit him?
No, we sit down as a group, along with Griff and Aaron, and we talk about it as to how it's going to look as far as him playing, and we come to an understanding that this is the best right now for him from the standpoint of the burst that he would have, and that's the way we try to play him.
And coach, this is Will from the Athletic. Just after reviewing the film from last night, what really stood out to you as far as some of the things that got away from you in the second half?
Oh, I think it was the turnovers. If you look at that team, as I said earlier, they're 30th in the league in forcing turnovers, and we ended up with 21 turnovers, which is way, way, way too many against that team. The one thing that they do, they're very solid defensively, but you should be able to have shots that are taken. You can't go through 21 possessions against that team without getting a shot up, and that's basically what we did. And then I would say that we went away from what we do collectively as a team, and that is that we either try to have paint shots or we try to have threes. We shot too many contested mid-range jumpers, and I think that we got a little bit tired last night. And as I said to some of the guys, I probably should have gone to the bench a little bit more. I don't mind saying that, and been able to preserve guys a little bit more. So there was several things that we could have done better, but there was a lot of things that we did really well. I thought our defense in the first half was terrific. We were really active and done a good job. And then we just had, I said, too many turnovers, especially in the third quarter. We had 8 turnovers in the third quarter. That should have been our total for the game.
Coach, this is Davide from Italy. What do you want to see from your guys in your next games? In your next game, what are you going to stress out?
Well, David, I think the number one thing is that we cannot turn the ball over, especially against this Clipper team. They're a much different team than Utah, and that they're very, oriented to be a running team, and they've got 2 great defensive players out there. They got 3 if you count Pat Beverly, but they got 2 all-star guys out there that are not only good offensive players but terrific defensive players. So we have to take care of the ball, and we got to be able to try to create offense, and we've got to some kind of way come up with some easy shots.
Hey, Coach, Christian Clark here at Ball.com. You guys were able to get stops in the first half. Second half was a little bit different. Just what did you see in the defensive end from the team in the second half?
I think what happened, Kristen, really is that we didn't contain the ball in the second half as well as we did in the first half, which created a lot of points in the paint for them, lane shots. I think they ended up with like 56 of their 106 points in the paint. And so we understand that Rudy's going to get behind us a couple of times, especially when you're dealing with, Donovan Mitchell. He's gonna create two on the ball situations, and we're gonna have Gobert get behind us a few times. But I just thought overall we could have just done a better job of guarding our position individually and trying to limit the dribble penetration that happened.
Hey, Alvin, it's Andrew from ESPN.
Hi.
You kind of mentioned it with kind of admitting that you told on the guys you probably should have played a little bit more guys off the bench last night. Is that something you can look to do to try to balance those minutes out? It seems that's been a strength for you guys in these scrimmage games, is to kind of use that depth to your advantage.
It has been, and like I said, I don't mind saying that I probably should have gone a little deeper on the bench, but we had guys that were playing well, and we just kind of rode with them. But that's the thing as a coach you got to be able to do, is that look in the mirror first and judge yourself. And like I said, what I'd like to see us do is maybe we can go to our bench a little deeper and preserve some of the minutes for some of these starters.
Hey, Alvin, Jeff Duncan. I'm curious to know your thoughts on the plus-minus statistic. I mean, last night Zion was
Irrelevant.
Yeah, do you-
I don't find anything. You can use it to your advantage. You can use it for whatever you want to. Numbers, you can do whatever you want to with them. But I don't look at a plus minus and say, boy, this guy played really well, or I don't look at a plus minus and say, man, this guy was really poor. So I think that's just one stat that you can judge something with, but I don't think it's like cut and dry 100% that you can look at that stat and say a guy played well or didn't play well.
Hey, Alvin, you mentioned situations where you have two on the ball with Donovan Mitchell perhaps going downhill. I noticed you guys were dropping your bigs back maybe a little further than earlier in the season. What do you like about that look, and is that something that was specifically maybe for the Jazz to avoid the way they play, or do you hope to continue that going forward?
Well, first of all, we've been doing that quite a while now, dropping our big back. So it wasn't anything that we did specifically for the Jazz or anything, but we found that our big guys have been very good as far as dropping back and playing too. And we changed that, probably 20 games into the season, 25 games into the season. So I think we've been pretty good at it. As I said, yesterday, I don't think that our defense was the thing that lost the game for us. As a matter of fact, I was pretty happy with it for the most part. They shot 28% from the three-point line. They shot, I think, 4 from the field. Those are pretty good numbers against a good offensive team like that, especially when you take into consideration the lob dunks that Gobert had. So defensively, I thought we were fine. We just got to make better decisions, better shot selections, and then we cannot turn the ball over. I think that's what it comes down to.
Hey, Alvin, it's Fletcher. I have kind of a philosophical question here, and maybe it's silly. Do you do anything from a motivational standpoint of talk about teams that, like, for say the 99 Knicks, that won 6 of 8, I think, to get in, and then ran with the 8 seed all the way to the finals? Do you reference things like that or talk about anything like that, or is it just kind of slow and steady, one game at a time?
Well, I think what you have to do is that, I don't know if we're in a position to say one game at a time. I mean, I think we've got to look at the big picture, and the big picture is that we have 7 games left to play, and most of those games really all of those games are going to be like the 7th game for us. So we have to approach it that way, knowing that we need to win those games, and that's just part of the thing of being in a competitive situation and having only a few games left. So no, we have to approach it in that, we're playing the 7th game against the Clippers. We're going to be playing the 7th game, against all the other teams that we're going to be playing. And most of those teams are teams that we're trying to chase or catch or get in a position where we can have that play-in game. So no, I don't think it's one of those deals where you go, hey, we got to take it one game at a time. I think you got to understand the big picture of the whole thing, and we have to approach it that way.
Go ahead. This is going to be the last question for Coach.
Alvin and Scott again. When you preach about the urgency of each and every one of these games, how frustrating is it that you've got to deal with ramp-up times and things of that nature? This long-term kind of medical stuff. How hard is it to not just want to play Zion in the last 3 minutes of a game like that last night?
Guys, I think the one thing, we have to be smart. You have to understand that, obviously coaches are competitive, but, the big picture is that we got to have healthy people to play throughout the season. And we hired medical guys that are very good at their job. And as a coach, you have to be able to listen to those guys because they know best. And, whatever minutes they say that a guy can play, you got to be willing to do that. And so that's where we are with that. Got to look. The big picture is that we're trying to win an NBA championship. And I think whatever it takes to try to get to that situation or that position, then we've got to be willing to follow the people that are experts in that particular area.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Josh.